Did you know that Alabama has a Hell Gate? Hi, Dad! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weary Lore. Are you ready for a new series? During my Cryptids of America series, we discovered that the line between cryptid and urban legend was very murky. So let's see if we can muddle it up a little more. One video, one state, and their urban legends. Now, we start with Alabama. What about that Hell Gate, you ask me? In Oxford, Alabama, there is a bridge that is purported to be haunted, and not just by some run-of-the-mill ghost, though there are ghosts involved. The story goes like this. If you drive onto the Hell's Gate Bridge, turn off your car and look over your shoulder, the road behind you will look like the burning gates of hell. But that's not all. Stopping there is an invitation for a ghost to join you on your little joyride, appearing in the back seat and leaving a wet mark on your upholstery. This ghost is a poor, departed teenager from the 1950s who perished after her boyfriend drove their car off the bridge into the rapid water below. And that's where most of the stories end. They explain that the bridge is now condemned, blocked by concrete, so that no one can experience this again. But I found more. The peculiar state of Hell's Gate Bridge did not start recently. It didn't even start in the 50s after the accident. No, there was something wrong with this bridge before it was even built. According to a story I read, construction on the bridge began in 1912. However, it was very slow going as the people building the bridge kept disappearing. Officials blamed the slow construction on World War I, but locals had other ideas. Locals and workers claimed that there was something wrong with the bridge, that men who worked on it after dusk would just disappear. It took 5 years to finish construction on the bridge. Hell's Gate Bridge officially opened in 1917. As the urban legend says, there was a crash off the bridge in 1950. A young couple who seemingly veered off the bridge of their own volition. It said that the girl lost her life, but the boy survived and went loony. He would tell people that there was something wrong with the bridge, that he'd looked into the very mouth of hell from that bridge. It was the boy who said that anyone who stopped on the bridge and looked over their shoulder would see the gates of hell. And now the bridge is closed, being retaken by nature, and maybe that's for the best. Maybe the girl can rest now, and no one else will lose their minds to the gates of hell. Now, I don't want to go in and try to fully debunk these urban legends. This series is more for fun than my cryptid series was. So this is just my personal opinion. This urban legend has a lot of holes. There's a lot of different versions. The story I told you was only found on one website, and there's other websites with other facts that completely contradict it. There's no proof of an accident ever happening in the 50s, stuff like that. But it combines two classic urban legends, the haunted bridge and a wayward ghost girl getting in your car in an interesting way. It wasn't particularly scary, but the thought of it does make that little creepy shiver go down your spine. You know what? Let's do a tier list. I wasn't going to, but I think it should be fun. Hell's Gate Bridge in Oxford, Alabama, B tier. On to the next urban legend. Now, I can't talk about urban legends in Alabama without talking about the Dead Children's Playground. For some unholy reason, a playground was built directly beside a cemetery, and the creative minds of the locals ran rampant. So what exactly is the urban legend? I would be surprised if you haven't heard of this one, but let's go over it anyway. The cemetery in this story is the historic Maple Hill Cemetery, the oldest and largest cemetery in Huntsville, Alabama. The playground? Well, it certainly didn't start as the Dead Children's Playground. It was just a playground built in Maple Hill Park, some distance away from the ever-expanding cemetery. It is said that, at night, if you drive by the playground, you just might get a bit of a fright. You may see the swing set moving on its own or other play equipment dancing around as if in the hands of children. You may even hear giggling or laughing, and if you're one of the very, very lucky, you might actually see them, spectral apparitions of dead children at play. All of this, as well as ghostly orbs being captured in images and up-close and personal ghostly encounters happening, can be traced back to the dead children's playground. You can't escape them, not even during the day. But why are these children here? Well, for exactly the reason you would think. Maple Hill Cemetery has been operating for a very, very long time, as far back as 1822. Looking past the mortality rate of children in those times just on average, something even more sinister happened to cause this ghostly event. In 1918, there was a pandemic. Sorry, this part might feel a little close to home. The first case of the Spanish flu in Huntsville, Alabama, was reported on September 28, 1918. The Spanish flu was devastating. Worldwide, it was estimated to have killed between 17 and 50 million people, though it could have possibly been as high as 100 million people. Large range there, but even at the lowest number, it's an unimaginable amount of people. Why am I telling you this? Huntsville, Alabama was slammed by the Spanish flu. By October 5th, 1,100 cases had already been reported. From the numbers I could find, Huntsville had around 8,000 inhabitants at this time. And keep in mind, the Spanish flu was only getting started. It didn't end until 1920. Many of these cases were the elderly, the infirmed, and the extremely young. I couldn't find an exact number of the amount of children who passed from the Spanish flu. I just found some advice. Go to the Maple Hill Cemetery. Look for the tombstones of children who passed around 1918. There's a good chance it was from the flu. Additionally, this section of the cemetery is said to be the section closest to the dead children's playground. Well, isn't that lovely? There's something a little wholesome about this urban legend. Don't get me wrong, children dying of a horribly vicious flu is not wholesome. But them playing on playground equipment, if for some reason they are trapped here in the afterlife, kind of wholesome. Now, I know there have been investigations, I know there have been debunks on this very urban legend, but that's not what this is about. The tie-in to a very real event with very solid reasoning, well, I like it. Now, it's not S tier. I don't know if anything will reach that, but let's give it an A. It's a wonderful mix of true story and fictional tale. Last urban legend. For this urban legend, I specifically looked for one that I had never heard of before. The previous two, I was knowledgeable about. This one, not so much. It goes like this. On a hot summer day in July of 1845, a man named Orion Williamson was relaxing with his family on his farm. It was at this time that Orion decided to leave his family on the porch to tell his farm manager, Andrew, to move the horses into a shady area. As he walked through his field, no taller than ankle high, he found what looked like a stick to play with. He was playing with it as he made his way across the field. It was then that his neighbor, Armour Wren, and his son, James, rode by on a horse and buggy. As they waved to Orion, he waved back, and then disappeared right in front of their eyes. He didn't fall, he didn't run, he didn't spontaneously combust. He just disappeared into thin air. It was quite a shock for everyone watching. Hundreds of people gathered to search for Orion. Combing his field thoroughly, there were search dogs and geologists looking for holes and caves, but no one found hide nor hair of him. His wife and son were tortured for weeks by his cries for help, but found nothing when they ran towards the fading voice. There was nothing. It wasn't until the following spring that a circle of dead grass appeared where Orion had last been seen. There were many theories on what happened to Orion. A leading theory was alien abduction. Maybe he went back to space from whence he came. Sorry, couldn't help it. Others theorized that he used magic to disappear because he was unhappy with his life. Why he would choose that very moment? Who knows? A more complicated theory is that he disappeared due to unstable universe ether, which is part of the unstable universe theory, or Aristotelian physics, which was coined by Aristotle. I have read this theory, but I can't say I fully understand it. It would definitely take more studying. From what I understand, apparently everything is in spheres, and everything in the terrestrial realm, or sphere, is made up of the 4 elements, including humans, and it is their natural motion to go back to their natural state depending on the element that composed them. That motion is either up or down. Humans can voluntarily move because they have the will to move, so they have both natural and voluntary motion. So Orion could have disappeared because his natural motion moved him towards his natural state. Yeah. And in this theory, the universe also revolves around the Earth, so I would take it with a grain of salt. More realistic theories are that he ran away to start a new life, or was the victim of a serial killer in the area at the time. Neither of these would make him disappear out of thin air, but this was the 1800s. Overall, I did find this urban legend very interesting. But an urban legend is all it may be. I found plenty of stories about Orion Williamson, but they were all just rehashings of the legend. I didn't find proof of him being a real person. Additionally, I did find plenty of serial killers in Alabama, but none of them were from the 1850s. The closest was 1896. I did enjoy, partially, learning about the unstable universe theory, so you know what, I think this one will join the Dead Children's Playground in A tier. As I move on, I might be a little harsher with the ratings, but we'll see. That's it for this video. Is there an urban legend in your home state that you want me to look into and rate? I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider pressing that like and subscribe button. It would be super appreciated. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. A little aside from my long-term subscribers. Thank you so much for sticking with me. This video took so long to come out because I have been horrendously sick. Like, told to go to the hospital multiple times sick. But I am a stubborn person, so I did not. As it stands, I am mostly better, so thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.